If you've ever wondered what the heck you actually said at the end of that party,
or wanted a do-over button for those cringeworthy encounters,
then you've experienced what we call the joy of awkwardness.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Bree.
And we're here to celebrate the awkward.
Embrace the awkward.
And remind you of one important thing.
You may be awkward,
but you're definitely not alone.
Well, that was awkward. Hi, Mendy.
Hi, Bree.
Do you have an awkward moment from this week?
Yes, Bree. I got grunted at by one of our elderly sisters.
What? Tell me more.
Okay, I was in a store and I came to an intersection where I was perpendicular with quite an older woman, and we didn't know who was going to go first, and she waved her hand for me to go first. I said, thank you. And I heard her behind me say, mm-hmm. She grunted me. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Are my shorts too short? I was wearing my Wu-Tang shirt. Maybe she doesn't like the Wu-Tang, but I'm like, if she's heard of Wu-Tang, she's got to love Wu-Tang. She wouldn't recognize the Wu-Tang symbols. So yeah, I got grunted at. I got disapproved of by this woman. And on the way home, of course, I kept perseverating on it. And I was thinking of the word disgruntled. Yeah. And I was like, doesn't it seem that gruntled should mean that you're in a bad mood because you're full of grunts? And then I was like, dis means like opposite of or to take away. So maybe it means you are disgruntled because someone has offended you and pulled the grunts right on out of you. You're disgruntled.
I'm going to look up the etymology of disgruntled really quickly. Oh, it comes from the mid-17th century, from dis as an intensifier. So I guess dis can also mean an intensifier.
Oh, or it used to mean an intensifier. Not to my fourth graders. That's not what we learned.
And gruntle, which means to utter little grunts. So 17th century.
Gruntle is the cutest word. The cutest word. If I ever get another kitty cat and she's grumpy, I'm going to name her Gruntle.
I love it. I also had an awkward moment this week. It was at a family event. As you know, I've been up here on Cape Cod for this month with my husband's family. So we were at dinner and some family members had just arrived. As an affectionate family, we give each other hugs. So I was going around the room, giving people hugs, and I crossed by one of the family members who I'd already seen earlier in the week. He was sitting down in a chair, so I didn't think to hug him. He wasn't newly arrived. But as I walked by him, he grabbed me from behind. The thing is, he's an older gentleman, and he's tinier than I am. He's a small little guy.
Oh.
And he grabbed me from behind, knocked me off balance. I fell back on him into his lap in front of everyone. Poor guy. That was awkward moment number one. But Mendy, it gets worse.
Oh, good.
Because there was also a secret awkward moment for this awkward moment.
Oh, that's the best kind.
The one-upping awkward moment. Because when I fell, everybody said, "Oh, Bree, you fall so gracefully. You fall like a dancer." But there's a reason for that, Mendy. It's been really humid here, right? Really pretty hot and humid. There's been a heat wave this summer. And you know how your underparts get when it's hot and humid? And you've been in a bathing suit all day? They get a little. What do you do when your underparts get a little sticky in a bathing suit?
You free ball so you don't get a little yeasty.
That's right. You go commando. So I was wearing a jean skirt and I was going commando to, air out. So when the gentleman grabbed me from behind and I fell back onto him, I had to squeeze my legs really tightly so as not to give everyone a whole different kind of fireworks show. Well, that was awkward. That was my awkward moment for the week.
Your little basic instinct. I like your basic instinct.
Toes pointed.
Why did he grab you? Do you know? Was it just love?
He said I didn't want to miss out on a hug.
Ooh, he almost got more than he bargained for. That's amazing.
Mendy, we also got another call-in story this week, a summer call-in story.
Oh, yay. I love these.
Yep, here we go.
Oh, goody.
When I was a kid, I went to Virginia Beach with my family. I wore my favorite bathing suit. It was a white one piece with little fruit printed all over it, like bananas, cherries.
Oh, fruity bathing suit.
The waves were gigantic. And when I went swimming, I got rolled by the biggest one. I think I probably did 3 or 4 somersaults and swallowed a bunch of water.
Gosh, it's so scary when those East Coast waves roll you like that.
And when I finally came up, my bathing suit had also swallowed a bunch of sand. It was embedded in the fabric. And when I tried to stand up, it was like I was wearing a diaper that was really full and I couldn't get out of the water. I had to wait for Dad to come pick me up and carry me back to the hotel room.
Oh.
I was so embarrassed.
Oh, poor thing.
Oh gosh, to be stuck there and not be able to get up because your drawers are full of sand. Or God knows what it looked like.
I know.
She was like a human sandbag.
Oh, little sandy bottom. I'm on the Cape and I keep seeing all these kids like sitting in the shallows of the water, just sitting there with their little sandy bottoms. And now I wonder how many of them feel like they just can't get up.
Well, I guess she didn't need a souvenir. She had a little souvenir she could take home right there in her drawers.
Thank you so much for sharing your summer story. I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm so glad we got to hear about it.
I wonder how surfer girls deal with that. I wonder if they have like a special device or something. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sending that. Listeners, please send us more stories.
We really, really love getting voice memos from you, and you can check out the show notes. There's a really easy link for leaving us messages just like this one. We love them. Speaking of awkward stories, Mendy, you said that you have a good listener story to share with me today. I'm so excited.
Bree, I've got a great story. You ready for it?
I am so ready.
All right, Bree, you're going to love this one. Our story comes from Ellie. She's in her early 20s and she has just landed her first big girl job.
Woohoo!
Do you remember your first big girl job?
I'm still waiting for it.
Well, Ellie is the development director of a nonprofit immigrant and refugee support organization.
Good for her.
Yes, good for the world. Go, Ellie. And of course, she's super passionate about her work. And she's been grinding extra hard lately, trying to drum up funds to keep the foundation thriving in the next year. And she had to send out her end of year appeals for funds before December 31st. Bree, I know you know what that is like from your work in the nonprofit sector.
Yes, I'll tell you what, those 2 weeks, actually the 4 weeks before December 31st are packed with emails and phone calls and donor lunches and events. I so remember those days. Yes.
And it is being towards the end of the year. It's Christmas time, Kwanzaa time, Hanukkah time. It's holiday time. It's the last real working day before the holiday. And everyone is leaving early, heading home to wrap presents, like roast all the chestnuts over the fire, figure out their regifting plans. And Ellie is the last one at work, racing against her deadline. She doesn't eat. She just works. She'd run out earlier to grab some Chinese food that she is so looking forward to as a reward when she gets home and crashes on her couch. Bree, do you have a special treat that you only have when you're alone? Your lonely treat?
I do have a special treat, Mendy. It is Little Debbie Swiss rolls and only Little Debbie Swiss rolls. And I am super, super meticulous about how I eat the Little Debbie Swiss rolls. Would you like to know my technique?
Yeah.
So what I do is I bite off the ends of each Swiss roll. Then I unroll the crusty chocolate layer around the cake. And I eat that little crusty chocolate layer. Then I unroll the cake layer about halfway. I lick out the cream from that. Then I eat that cake, and then I'm left with just a tiny little roll of cake and filling, and then I eat that. It's the best.
Bree, you should probably put that on an OnlyFans. I got a little steamy listening to that. Next time I'm fasting, I want you to tell me that story, please.
I will do it.
You need to mukbang that.
Mendy, do you have a favorite lonely treat?
My lonely treat is Marco and Luca vegetarian dumplings. That's a local, family-owned, wonderful dumpling shop here in Charlottesville.
It's true. They're really, really good. And do you have a technique for eating them?
No, I just cram them in. So Ellie finally finishes and sends out her last donor email. It's holiday time. It's crashing on the couch with egg rolls o'clock. For you, Bree, that would be violate a Swiss roll o'clock. So she gathers up all her things and she heads out around 11 p.m. Now, Bree, Ellie's organization is in a pretty tall building, and usually she'd take the stairs, but she's balancing all her stuff and that low main reward in a box on top. So she decides to take the elevator.
That makes sense.
This is a glass elevator that looks down onto an outdoor courtyard below. And it's super dark down there because everything has shut down for the holidays. It is completely deserted. But she's feeling so good and cheery and proud in that elevator. She's even humming along to the elevator music. And then, lurch. The elevator jolts and screeches to a stop. She hammers on the buttons, but no dice. She is stuck between the second and third floors.
Oh, no.
She whips out her phone, and her phone, Bree, is at 3%. So she knows she has to be very careful about who she calls. She calls her boss. Her boss is supportive, but she lives like 30 minutes away, and she's doing the holiday thing with her kids. So she urges her to just call 911.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but she won't call 911, Bree, because she didn't want to bother all the firefighters on their holidays.
What? That doesn't make sense to me.
I know, but Bree, I did the same thing a couple of Christmas Eves ago. One of my sons had just gone through a firefighting program during his senior year of high school.
Uh-huh.
Christmas Eve night, our carbon monoxide alarm starts going off, and it's very old. I knew it was the batteries, but my son was like, we have to call 911. And I was like, I can't call the firefighters on Christmas Eve and bother them because of these stupid batteries. And he's like, well, we could all wake up dead. So we ended up calling the firefighters.
I'm so glad you did.
Yes, but I totally understand it. And there's that realization of, is this an emergency? Am I stressing the system? You know, you hear about people with these frivolous calls. I do get it.
I would not feel that way, but I get it. I get that that's how she feels. So what happens?
She does not call 911. She calls her best friend, Diana. Diana, I'm stuck in the elevator at work. Her phone dies.
Okay, but what about the elevator phone? They always have a phone in the elevator.
They do, Bree, but she's in her 20s. The only landlines she's ever seen are from the movies. So, like, payphones.
Or prison phones.
Yes. So she's like, am I going to get charged money to use that phone? I can't afford this. It's Christmas. I just bought all these presents. She saw her meager Christmas bonus going down the drain right before her eyes. And then she was like, or do I have to call collect like they did in Orange is the New Black? Are those phone calls in prison collect, Bree? You've been to prison.
Yep, they're collect. I get it. If that's her concern, it's a legitimate one.
Furthermore, she's like, will my little nonprofit organization get charged? Will I have to send out even more emails to cover this?
Oh, poor thing.
And the reality of her situation comes into focus in waves. First, she's like, I can't even catch Pokemons with my phone, and I know there's one in here. I'm not going to meet my Pokemon quota for the day. Then she thinks, oh, did I bring my book? No, she's left her vampire smut at home. Then it hits her. This is how my life ends. This is why I'm not supposed to be a workaholic. My priorities are so out of balance.
This girl is spiraling.
She's panicking, right? Lizard brain.
Mhm.
She's stuck. She's alone. She has no way of telling how long she's been in there. And Bree, she lives in a college town. So when this city shuts down for the holidays, everyone is gone. She doesn't even know how long she can survive in there. Bree, what would you do?
I would use the phone.
Yeah, I think I'd use the phone as well.
But short of that, I would dig into that Chinese food.
You'd start violating your Swiss cake roll, wouldn't you? Well, she opens her Chinese food and starts counting her lo mein noodles and divvying out how much she can ration herself per day. And she's setting aside her baby corns in a little corn pile for Christmas morning feast. She starts thinking of all the special family traditions she's going to miss this year. Her family doing Christmas without her. She can already imagine her big sister taking her serving of candied yams. And what if they don't miss her at all?
Oh.
Then she realizes,
That she should use the phone?
no, of course not. She's like, I need to write down the names of my family so they know who to contact when they find my body.
Oh my gosh.
She digs through her bag for her pen. She doesn't have a pen. She does have her lipstick. She starts writing her family members' names all over both arms and hands. Bree, what do you think?
What kind of lipstick was it?
It was her MAC Bombshell Red.
Well, that's more expensive than a phone call.
Oh, yeah. Our little frugal girlie actually said that she was so PO'd that she didn't bring her frickin' Maybelline. She flashes forward in her mind to January 2nd, when the world wakes back up. Everyone from her building coming into the courtyard at 9 a.m., looking up at the elevator and seeing her up there like some bizarre New Year, New You storefront window display. 2018's hottest new trend, glass elevator living.
And lipstick, it's not just for your mouth anymore.
Then, a horrific thought occurs to her. What if I need to go to the bathroom more than once in this tiny box?
Honestly, that would have been my first worry, Mendy.
Right? But then she hears, Ellie! She looks out onto the courtyard. It's her bestie. She's come to her. Diana! Diana! She thrusts herself onto the glass. Diana yells up, I called 911.
What a good friend.
Yes, yay, Diana! She needs to keep Diana close by. That's a good one.
We all need a Diana.
So soon after the firefighters arrive, they find her there, red lipstick scrawled all over her body, clutching her lo mein. And there's a little gap between the floors, and they're able to squeeze Ellie out of it. She had to hand them her stuff through the crack first, of course, including her Chinese food. And the firefighters are like, wow, this smells good. She cries and profusely apologizes for ruining their Christmas time and then snatches back her precious lo mein.
How long was she in there?
Bree, this poor thing had been languishing in that elevator for a total of 23 minutes.
See, if they had come a little bit later, she probably wouldn't have been okay.
Really?
Because statistically, people who start to have panic attacks in a stuck elevator, they tend to calm down after like 30 to 45 minutes.
Wow. So she makes it to Diana, and Diana, who we know is such a great friend, is like, girl, you need a margarita. They find a place that is open on the holiday, and she forgets all about that lo mein.
Oh, good. She made it home in time for Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
And her big sister was not able to steal her candy yams. Not this time.
So what happened next?
Well, she never rode the elevator again. She said she remembered coming back from break and having a lot of stuff in her arms and looking up at that thing and saying, "Oh, no, 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 no." And she says she got a lot healthier because she took the stairs.
Yeah, I call that the brownstone butt lift.
Little update, 4 months later, she's at the same nonprofit. A huge storm rolls through and somehow sets off the fire alarms during a board meeting. Of course, the whole building has to evacuate. They're outside when the firefighters arrive, and one of them sees her and is like, "You look so familiar." The other firefighters look over and they're like, "Oh, hey, it's the elevator girl." The entire evacuated building start laughing. And for the next 2 years, everyone in the building calls her Ellie Elevator. And every single day, someone asks, "You taking the elevator today?"
Well, that was awkward.
Bree,
Yeah,
what would you have done in this situation? We've established that we're using that elevator phone.
let's just say we can't use the elevator phone.
Yes.
What I would do is instead of writing the names of my family members on my arms, I would write "help me" on the glass.
Yes.
How about you, Mendy? What would you have done?
Well, she's really lucky she was able to reach her friend before her cell phone died. But I do wonder in hindsight if it would be a better move to go Facebook Live with that little bit of battery you had left because you'd reach a much wider audience.
Yeah, good call. How about Dana? Could Dana get you out of this one?
Oh, yeah. In those months afterwards, when everyone was making fun of me, I would just be like, "It wasn't me. That was my twin sister, Dana." So you can cut it with the Ellie elevator. It's the Dana Vader you're looking for, and she doesn't even work here anymore.
The Dana Vader?
Living it up while she's going down. You know that song, right?
Oh, I don't. Mendy, does our listener have any advice for people who are stuck in an elevator?
Yes, you need to memorize important phone numbers. And you can use emergency phones even during the holidays.
Yeah, you know what? I'm also going to look up some tips for being stuck in an elevator and throw them in the show notes. So take a screenshot of that while you're at it. Hey, listener, this is Bree. Mendy and I were so befuddled by the question of whether or not we should call the fire department in this kind of situation and whether or not they would be disgruntled if we did call them that we forgot to even give this awkward moment a ranking on a scale of 1 to 10. But we were encouraged to reach out to firefighters that we know to ask them specifically about this question. And Synthia Kearney of the Gastonia, North Carolina Fire Department got back to me after hearing about our listeners' predicament. And here's what she says.
Good morning, Bree. This is Synthia Kearney. I am a battalion chief for the Gastonia Fire Department. And you were telling me about a situation where a woman was stuck in an elevator and was scared to call because she did not want to disturb the fire department. We would not be disgruntled. In fact, we expect people who are stuck in an elevator to please give us a call because that is why we are here. We are here to help people. It doesn't matter what day of the week. It doesn't matter if it's a holiday. We are working on those days so that we can help people in whatever situation they're in that we can assist them. So I would tell people to absolutely, if you're stuck in an elevator, no matter what day, please call the fire department, call 911 so we can get help to you, and we will be able to get you out of that elevator relatively quickly. So yes, we would not be disgruntled at all. That is why we are here.
Thank you for clarifying that for us and making us feel totally okay with calling the fire department when we need their help.
You're our hero.
Hey, Ellie, we loved your story and we wrote a little song for you.
In the elevator, Ellie's trapped.
Counting her noodles, then she snapped.
Oh God, what if she has to crap?
Well, that was awkward, so if you get stuck in a lift,
Call firefighters, they won't be miffed.
save that lipstick for your lips. Hey, Mendy, do you know my phone number by heart?
Of course I know your phone number, Bree. It's 1-800-BFF.
Well, that was awkward.
I don't
even think I know my own phone number.
This has been an Awkward Sage production.